Hey everyone, Hybrid Toy Reviews here with the brand new Star Wars The Black Series Clone Commander Jesse from the Clone Wars. This is a Walmart exclusive here in the US, and it's been a little bit of a pain to get a hold of, but thankfully my good friend Hunter went ahead and picked up a few extras when he was pre-ordering, so he's able to help out some of us friends, which is phenomenal. Great job, Hunter. You're what every collector should be, and none of them seem to want to aspire to be, but great guy. Thanks for helping me out here. I'm super excited to get into this one, so let's get into the review. You guys all know how it goes. As always, you start by taking a look at the packaging. This is your standard Black Series plastic-free packaging with your Black Series logo up above, a render of Clone Commander Jesse, Star Wars The Clone Wars, his name, Warning 4+, plastic-free Hasbro. This side of the box features artwork of Jesse looking a little different in the helmet department. He almost has the right helmet. Yeah, something going with this figure is that they've given him the wrong helmet in figure form. Almost drew the helmet correctly on the art, except he doesn't have a rangefinder. And yeah, we're going to get into that into the review. But yeah, decent art otherwise. This side of the box features your Black Series logo, the the render of the figure showing off all the accessories, saying that he's exactly 6 inches tall. They blow themselves a little bit about plastic-free packaging down there. It was so good, it only lasted 3 waves. Got your Black Series logo up top on the back. You got the render of Jesse again. You have his name, a bio in varying languages. Pause and read whichever one applies best to you. He's number 12 in the Clone Wars line. There's a bunch of legal stuff going on underneath, same as the bottom of the box of a barcode, hanger top, and nothing else going on the roof. So, very standard stuff. Let's go ahead and open them up, see what we're getting here. Here we have the Jesse out of the box, and as always we start by taking a look at the accessories. He comes with 2 standard clone pistols. We've seen these throughout the line for a number of years now. They are just in solid black plastic, and they're clone pistols. We've seen them a ton of times before. We'll go ahead and stick them in his working holsters, which do fit very nicely. One thing worth noting is his right hand features a trigger finger, so he can actually hold it. The left hand does not feature a trigger finger, so he actually can't hold it right. It's being held up and at an angle, which sucks. You would think on a figure like Jesse, where basically the only new piece is that head sculpt, which we'll get to, there might be just an ounce of budget in the sculpting department to modify the left hand. You would also say that with every dual-wielding clone figure that's come before, like Rex, Wolf, Bly, Echo, the Umbara ARC Trooper, Fordo. I'm sure there are others that I'm blanking on. But anytime that we have a dual-wielding clone, it just doesn't happen, and I don't understand what the adversity to it is, but it sucks, and I'm going to have to take an X-Acto knife to yet another hand to separate out the fingers. So there's my bitch fest about it. I do it every time I see it, and maybe someday Hasbro will care to listen. They never will. Speaking of bitching, here we have his helmet.
Expired. 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 They're all useless.
Yeah, I'm not digging it. I will say the paint deco has come out very clean. It's got a little bit of scuffing going on the brow on the blue there. I guess that's all right. Very even shade of blue throughout. Paint apps are neatly applied to the wrong helmet. Yeah, he doesn't wear this style of helmet. This is a Phase 1 ARC helmet, and it was phased out near the end of the Clone Wars, which was around the time that he was promoted to ARC Trooper, so he actually, in the show, wears a standard Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmet. And the thing is Hasbro has standard Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmets available. It is a part of every Phase 2 clone that we've gotten. These all have a removable helmet that's glued down onto the head. So I guess the question then becomes, why did they not repaint the right part? And after all the feedback when they did it twice in the Vintage Collection, because this isn't a Black Series exclusive mistake here. They did it on the Comic-Con exclusive Jesse, and then when everyone was like, that's wrong, they didn't fix it for the regular packaging release Jesse. So this is just across the board, just not ideal. The rangefinder moves, that's nice, except he doesn't have a rangefinder. Now, I know that some people are unplugging the rangefinder and saying that's good enough. Some are then tapering down the fin on the back of the helmet here, either sanding it or cutting it down or whatever. That gets you kind of close, but the jaw area of the helmet is just completely and totally wrong. So what did I do? Well, I contacted my good friend, Commander Cook. He was working on some customs for me that involved some head swaps using custom helmets. He had made some ARF troopers for me. And I asked if he could use one of the bootleg helmets and paint it up in Jesse colors for me, which he obliged and did a phenomenal job. So shout out to Commander Cook. Got between Hunter, 212 Hunter getting me the figure, and Commander Cook getting me the corrections to the figure. Some good stuff was done here. And to Hasbro, again, bootleg helmet. There was a sale made on this because you did this wrong. So great work there. I say that maliciously. Not maliciously, though. Great work here, Commander Cook. I love this. To show you some fitment, the wrong helmet does fit on the figure pretty decently. I will say it was made to fit well, just never existed, and is wrong and is ultimately lazy because I'm not even asking for a new part being made. Now, the custom helmet that I've had made, I have to get the nose up in there. It's a little bit of a snugger fit. It was meant for a different head sculpt and underneath, but it looks really good. I've seen some people talk about maybe they'll just leave the helmet off, but the thing is why would you leave the helmet off of a clone? You want them all geared up on the shelf. So this absolutely fixes the figure for me. And look at that paint match. I mean, considering that the figure wasn't even out yet, Commander Cook had to kind of guess on what shade of blue to use, and he guessed perfectly. So we'll go ahead and pop this off. Set the helmets off to the side for the moment. Let's look at this face sculpt. As I knock over Jesse. Jesse looks phenomenal here. This is a beautiful Temuera Morrison likeness. This is our first clone head that's got a bald hairdo, so hopefully they keep this in rotation just for some future removable helmet clone variants, because there's a lot of different hairstyles the clones used, bald being a popular one. Looks very, very good, I gotta say. There's no shine to it. I know everyone's always like, oh, the faces are too shiny on figures, and they're really not. But this one is definitely very matte, whereas the others just kind of look like plastic. So I'm very happy on how this one turned out. His tattoo is done beautifully. It's kind of like an opaque black, so you kind of see the skin tone plastic in underneath. It looks like a tattoo that's kind of been fading for a little bit, which is just an awesome look. I love that a lot. Working down, from the neck down, if you have Echo, if you have Fordo, if you have the Umbra ARC Trooper, you know what you're getting here. This is complete and total reuse from those figures. The only unique thing we have going on here is the paint job, but it's a good paint job, I will say. So go ahead and give him a 360. It's a little bland on the back, not as much blue going on, but yeah, it's a pretty all-around decent looking fig. I do like they've done just the tiniest little bits of scuffing to the blue paint here and there. It's admittedly, it does throw me off a little bit when they want to scuff the paint but not put a wash on it to add the dirt in its place. But it's not bad looking. I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna bash, but yeah, it's very, very light. So ultimately, though, it is a good look for Jesse. I never realized, I guess, his design is sort of very bland as far as ARC Troopers go. There's always something unique going on. Echo has his handprint in the Umbra. Well, we know what's going on with the Umbra. Echo's Kama has the white side and the striped side, and there's just things happening here. And this one's just basically just your 501st blue stripes, and his most unique thing are his gray knee pads with the white line through the front. So yeah, it's just kind of what it is. Also, something that I thought would be fun to say is, because we only get this look for Jesse in a couple of episodes, and otherwise we only get his Phase 2 look in a couple of episodes. I just wanted to bring in real quick, I have the AliExpress Custom Jesse, which is really just a bootleg with a unique deco that Hasbro will never do. And I'd like to point out that not only is that a great figure, which I've reviewed, so check on the channel looking for that. While his helmet has the Republic cog, doesn't have all the blue around back, which is accurate to the Embara era. The blue was added in the final season. I will say that for the time period that AliExpress was trying to recreate versus the time period that Hasbro was trying to recreate, AliExpress actually did a better Jesse than Hasbro. The downside being there's no removable helmet on this. It is also glued down, just like all the Hasbro figures used to be. So just a side-by-side I wanted to bring in. Let's run through some articulation. Jesse has a double ball joint in the neck, allowing him to look that far up, that far down, rotate side to side, and pivot pretty good. So arms can come up to a T-pose, butterfly joint in there. 360 at the shoulder that kind of has to come out around that pauldron armor. Single jointed elbows that can go to 90 and then rotate at the elbow. 360 at the wrist, with the left one hinging in and out, the right one hinging up and down. There is a mid-torso ball joint that allows him to crunch this far forward, that far back, rotate, and pivot pretty far. His leg can kick that far out, a little bit forward, not really, a little bit back. There's an upper thigh rotation, single jointed knees that can go past 90 and rotate at the knee. Then the feet can point pretty far down, pretty far forward, and there's a forward-facing pin for rocker, allowing you to get into some pretty decent stances with both feet flat on the ground. Standing him up there like so. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Here he is next to the 332nd clone, a popular appearance throughout his final story there. Here he is next to Captain Rex, another popular character in that story. We can get Rex to stand up. A downside of the old clone body is they don't like to stand up, but we definitely want that red box reissue instead of just a new Rex. Here is Ahsoka from the Season 7 finale. And honestly, as inaccurate as this figure is, I guess all we can deduce from this is Hasbro just doesn't want us to have nice Season 7 Clone Wars figs. And then here he is next to Echo, just to show you what a accurate ARC would look like. So, end of the day, what do I think of ARC Trooper Jesse? You know, I'm happy to have the character in the collection. He's far from my most favorite clone, just because we don't really get a ton of time with him in the show. But he's okay. I just wish that we lived in a world where I couldn't say something like AliExpress made a better Jesse figure and have it be correct. I wish we lived in a world where Hasbro used the correct pieces to make a figure instead of just slapping something together. I wish we lived in a world where when a figure is a store exclusive like Walmart, and therefore going to be very difficult to get, that's going to be a bit of work that you're going to have to pre-order and then deal with your pre-orders getting canceled and then deal with it going in and out of stock a few times before they start shipping your pre-orders. I just wish that in all of those circumstances that Hasbro would be a company that's willing to throw about 1/16 of a shit into their product and give us what we really should have had. I shouldn't have had to get a custom helmet made. I shouldn't have had to cut the trigger finger loose from the left hand. It should have just been ready to roll right out of the box with no modifications required. Thing is, something like the wrong helmet being on this figure, I would have totally accepted if like the figure was coming out a few months before the show and it was kind of designed based off of concept art, and then last second they were like, actually, let's go ahead and just make it look like this instead. Because at that point, you know, that's Disney doing it. That's a behind-the-scenes thing. How many Marvel Legends figures have we bought of a costume that ended up being a little tweaked in the CG a week before the film dropped? I understand that, and I accept that. The Clone Wars ended like 3 years ago. This design has been out there for 3 years, and Hasbro's done it wrong twice. So, I don't know. End of the day, they're not going to learn their lesson because it's a cool ARC Trooper, and they're going to sell out. They're already sold out. They're waiting to restock at Walmart. Hasbro's made their money. They've won. We've lost. and no amount of me bitching online is going to do anything about it. So I've accepted it. Do I recommend the figure? Well, if I said no, would you not go and buy it anyway? So it's just very standard Hasbro stuff at this point. I love the company and I love this line, but there's an awful lot of corner cutting going on. Like lately, I've noticed especially, and it's definitely something that we should talk about more. But for now, let's just go buy every clone they make. Anyway, I'm going to go work on another video. Thanks for watching. It means a lot that you did. If you enjoyed, you should leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the end of video stuff. You've seen my stuff before. You know what it all is. I'll catch you next time. Until then, may the Force be with each and every one of you. Bye.